Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Andrew Feinstein. I'm the provost here at San Jose State University. And welcome to the last University Scholar Series lecture of the spring semester, and the last that I will host as provost.
We're happy for you.
Thank you. And it truly has been an honor to support the series during my tenure at San Jose State University, as it allows faculty members to share their amazing research, scholarship, and creative activities with the campus community each semester. And today we have another stellar example of scholarship that I know you'll find engaging and intriguing. This afternoon, Xiaojia Ho will join us. Xiaojia is an assistant professor in the Department of History in the College of Social Sciences and an undergraduate advisor. Her research centers on China's socialist transformation in the 1950s, modern China, Chinese peasants in the 20th century, Mao Zedong and the Yellow River in modern times. Her talk today will share insights from a recent book, Negotiating Socialism in Rural China, Mao, Peasants, and Local Cadres in Shanxi. I always have to check to make sure I'm pronouncing this correctly. While most scholarship regards China's agriculture collectivization as imposed by Mao Zedong, she has challenged the conventional wisdom in her book. In it, she explores how the national policy emerged from complex bureaucratic interactions among central, regional, local governments, and peasants. Before we begin, I want to always thank the staff in the University Library, Spartan Bookstore, the Riska Advisory Council, the Office of Research, and the Office of the Provost, who I know will continue to support the University Scholar Series. So now let me introduce Xiaojia Ho to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you all for coming. And Provost Feinstein just finished my presentation in half a minute. I think I can open for questions. And it is truly my honor to be part of the University Scholar Series. And give me a moment to start the micro thing. And also, thanks the Provost and the Provost Office for inviting me. And thanks Elizabeth and the library staff for arranging everything on my behalf. I'm really grateful. And again, my name is Xiaojia. I am the Asian historian of the History Department. My research centers on the communist China in the 20th century. I am always interested in the dichotomies between perception and misperception, policies and implementations, and the communist regime's seemingly all-encompassing power, and the common people's adaptation to that. And today, I'd like to present my recent book, and Negotiating Socialism in Rural China. It is about how did China begin its socialist transformation of the countryside in 1953. Can you hear me now? Yes. And in 1953, the Chinese Communist Party, particularly Mao, launched agricultural collectivization, a movement in crucial respects resembled the Soviet collectivization. And in 6 years, it led to the worst famine ever in the human history. 30 million Chinese perished. Nearly all of them were peasants. How did it begin? Surprisingly, the beginning of this agricultural collectivization has been poorly understood. Like Provost just said, most scholars considered Mao Zedong carefully planned the movement and imposed from above And it worked well until the middle of 1950s. Well, my research, based on the newly available archives, no Western scholars have yet accessed, challenge that conventional wisdom and rewrite the making. So challenge the conventional wisdom, and I argue, actually, well Mao supported, there was strong support of this collectivization from the below, and that movement never went on well. Even in the experimental stage, things fell apart, yet it continued. And my work pointed out to a new approach to study Mao's China. In study Mao's China, the most common approach is top-down, portray an overwhelmingly powerful communist party that determined how ordinary people lived. And the recent micro-studies of the villages have examined the Chinese people's capacity to adapt the policies from above. Well, my attention turns to the role of intermediate agents who previously overlooked by scholars. Those agents access to the local document led me to uncover the fissures in national policies and shed light on how local histories influence policies. Government countries and the provincial, prefecture, and the county level not only interpreted and carried out orders from Beijing, they also presented the people's concern to the central leadership. And indeed, national policy emerged from complex bureaucratic interactions among the central, regional, and the local tiers of the government. And also, during my research, I have been amazed by the parallels between Stalin's Russia and Mao's China. If you take a look at those important timelines, you can see both countries emerged from the Civil War, and then both countries adopted moderate economic policy. It is new economic plan in Russia between 1921 to 24, and the new democracy in China. Both policies allowed a mixed economy and allowed peasants to keep their private land and manage their own farms and sell their land in the market. Well, and in that few years, actually, peasants prospered. But the parties actually were not happy about what happened. So it's been a few years to explore a better way to improve the production and to better govern the country. In the end, both ended up with radical fact. It's the rapid industrialization and collectivization in the Soviet Union, 1928 to 31, and the Great Four, which was an attempt to industrialize China, and also the Commune in China in 1958. Both events were followed by the famine in Russia and the Great Famine in China. So the government actually took a step back in the following years and relaxed the control over the economy and allowed peasants to recover. Then, all of a sudden, a few years later, a purge came out of nowhere. It was the Great Purge in the Soviet Union, 36 to 39, and the Cultural Revolution in China from 1966 to 68, which in nature was a purge. So this parallel is simply striking. What is more amazing is Chinese communist leaders did not intend to duplicate the Soviet path. For example, in the early 1950s, while they consciously learned from the new economic plan, the Chinese central leaders did not plan to start the collectivization, at least not in 15 years. Even Stalin himself actually discouraged the Chinese communists to collectivize the peasants. Probably Stalin knew what happened in the Soviet Union. But then, regardless, 2 or 3 years later, China turned to collectivization. And in the middle of the 1950s, after Khrushchev's de-Stalinization speech,
Mao Zedong actually consciously tried to find a Chinese way to socialism and to deviate from the Soviet path. And in the end of the 1950s and early 1960s, the Sino-Soviet relations got really sour, and they had to break up. And China blamed the Soviet Union as a revisionist. But still, unfortunately, China just followed the path of the Soviet Union. So what had happened and why? I just had that puzzle in my mind for many years about this striking parallels between the two countries. But still, let me back to my research. I begin my research with one simple question. Why did the Chinese Communist Party fail the Chinese peasants so tragic? And the Chinese Communist Party rise from a peasant revolution. And Mao Zedong always claimed himself as a son of peasants. And many scholars, both in China and in the US, highlighted how skillful the Chinese communists were mobilizing peasants and new peasants. But are those true? And what was the true relationship between the communists and the peasants? I actually contend that from the beginning, the Chinese communists failed to understand the Chinese peasants. Here, I am inspired by the theory of the James Scott in his book, See Like Live. James Scott argues that in the building of a modern state, a process of simplification and abstraction was happened. Social reality is chaotic, disorderly, and constantly changing. So no administrative system is capable of fully representing it. So it's only through the process of abstraction and simplification the modern state could succeed in making the society comprehensible and manageable. Further, modern state officials have the tendencies to bring the fact into the line with their simplified view in order to construct a new society. That was a process Scott calls the path from description to prescription. Well, what happened in China was the same, but even worse, because the Chinese communists actually developed their prescription for the rural society even before it could describe the rural society. And Mao Zedong viewed Chinese peasants as the entities that the Communist Party wanted them to be, rather than what they were. So basically, in the beginning of the 20th century, Chinese rural society had gone through dramatic changes. And also China is a massive country. Rural conditions vary place to place. So virtually you can find any realities you wanted to discover in China. So what happened in those rural investigations is not what the reality you found, but what your belief guided you to discover the reality you wanted. So they are all like predetermined. And for the communist case, their pre-assumption of peasants came from Lenin, writing in the 1920s. So Lenin actually asserted that the origins of the peasant rural poverty lay in the unequal land distribution, and which produced classes. And he divided peasants into landlord, rich peasants, middle peasants, and poor peasants, based on the ownership of land. And Lenin predicted class consciousness and class struggles among the peasants. And then he assumed that peasants will acted to maximize their gain once they own the land. This is the sanctity of neighbor. Chinese communists seemed to have inherited those basic presumptions without question, and used this assumption to formulate a rural policy. And their policy was the land reform. Basically, they will confiscate the land from landlords and rich peasants, and give the land to poor peasants whenever they occupied the territory. Well, they assumed poor peasants will be grateful to the Communist Party and willing to serve the party, and the peasants will maximize the gain by working hard and investing the land. they also assume peasants have strong affiliation with the land. Well, the Lenin's understanding of the Russian peasants was wrong. So does the communists. Actually, communists did not get the things right. However, during the revolutionary years, 1930s, 1940s, communists still managed to mobilize peasants because during that time, there were constant wars in China. So the circumstances were different, and more important, Chinese communists never relied on the agricultural taxes as the main revenue. So it always posed itself as an ally of the peasants against the modern state who wanted the grain from peasants. So by coercion, by providing incentives, the Chinese communists succeeded in mobilizing peasants. So this is what I discussed in the first and second chapters. But then things started to change in 1949 when the communists win the Civil War, defeated the Nationalist Party, and become the ruler. So communists become the state. Now, communists demanded the grain from peasants. This is the point. The tension between the communists, the images of the peasants, and the reality on the ground started to surface. And this is the time after many communists asked the question, what's wrong with the peasants? Why they are different than we had anticipated? And it was the local countries actually first encountered those realities. And the case I choose is from the countries in Shanxi province. Shanxi is province in North China. About here, it's a rural province, very close to Yan'an. So it had been the revolutionary center for the Communist Party in the 1930s and the 1940s. There were 4 communist base areas established in Shanxi. So in 1949, the Shanxi provincial leaders actually were in a loss. It had been the center of the communist revolution. But now the revolution was over. The political center shifted to Beijing, and the economic gravity shifted from the rural economy to the urban economy. So the leaders were at a loss. What made things worse is there were 4 communist base areas. So at least 4 factions of them. They actually fight very nasty among themselves to control the Shanxi. So this is a photo of those Shanxi provincial leaders in 1950s. They look nice to each other, but they belong to at least 4 factions and did nasty things to each other. And so during this case of the factionism, and they had to also face the unpleasant rural predicament of the post-land reform. So my research is based on the case study of the Changshi prefecture in Shanxi. So now the land reform was over. Roughly speaking, the land were equally distributed among the peasants. So you can see now you have mostly middle peasants everywhere. And the government the party had expected things should go well, and the peasants should be appreciated, should be grateful to the communists. Well, it wasn't the case. Upon the rural investigations, they found the rural countries actually become unwilling to serve the party. Because the rural countries at the village level, they were not on the state payroll. So they received no salary from the government. Well, in the past, because of land reform, because all those campaigns, they actually profited from helping the government. But now the war was over, and like one village head put it, quote, "There are no more fat profit to be had from the revolution. So why should we suffer any further? Serving the people is not as appealing as working on their own land," unquote. And the worst case is some of the communist local cells announced its own dissolution. Like one cell chairman said, quote, "We have participated in the fighting against the Japanese and against the Zheng Now that land had been redistributed and Japan and Zhejiang have been defeated, our mission is over. Therefore, our branch has been dissolved." So basically, the countries were drifting away, and the communists was losing the control of the villages. And another issue is about peasants. assume the peasants will work hard to maximize the rural production, to help themselves and also to help the party. But peasants were unwilling to do that. It's like when I teach my class, I assume students come to the class, they wanted to learn, and they will maximize their learning capacity, spend all the time to read and do the homework and enjoy it. Is that true? No? Okay. Anyway, peasants were not. They did not enjoy working hard. They tried to find a balance between working hard and have a pleasant life. And so they did not follow the instruction of the communists, which was very painful. And they did not maximize the production, and they did not want to invest on the new technology and new tools. So communists were disappointed. Another issue is the drop the market grain. The market grain actually is very crucial for the government eyes, because for the government, how much grain peasants produce does not matter. It's how much grain they can actually they can levy over peasants matters. Agricultural tax was like a fixed quote from the Nationalist Party. Ideologically, communists cannot raise that tax quote. You can't be worse than the Nationalist Party, right? So what they wanted was to purchase the grain from the market. The interest in it. In the past, it's the landlords and rich peasants who actually supply the most of the market grain. Now, those classes were gone. You only have middle classes who produce for themselves and can produce very limited surplus to grain. And by the way, they eat more than the government wants them to eat. So the market in grain actually dropped by half in the 1950s, which was a big warning to the local communists. And then another issue is the different farming patterns. The government wanted the farmers to plant crops, staple crops, grains, possibly cottons, right? But peasants had different ideas. They wanted to plant cash crops, tobaccos, to make more money. So whose idea makes sense? Unfortunately, in the 1950s, it was peasants' fact, and the peasants decision what they wanted to plant. Another issue is about the production plan, because now at each level, the government agent need to make a production plan, need to make a budget. So they needed to know the production. Well, they asked the peasants for a production plan, so I can make my budget. The peasants just laughed at it. Only the board know how much grain I can have this year. And how do I know how much I can get? Forget about that. But still, the superior demanded a production plan. So each level actually fabricated their own production plan to fulfill the task. And it was very painful. And another issue, the surplus neighborhood. Because in 1950, millions of the demobilized soldiers went back to their home villages. How would you handle this huge unemployed labor force? It's just very painful. So very hard for those local cadres. So what's the solution? What would be the ideal solution that could solve all the problems I just listed? Any suggestion? Yes. Collectivization, exactly. We just talked about the Soviet model. That's collectivization. Okay. The trick is the very high-ranking communist leaders knew about the dark side of the collectivization in the Soviet Union, but the intermediate ranks had no idea about what's going on. They barely knew about the famines in the Soviet Union. From the propaganda, they knew everything worked perfect in the Soviet Union. Why don't you just do that? So very naturally, they come up with the idea, let's do the collectivization. However, remember Stalin actually discouraged the communist Chinese to duplicate collectivization, and also China seemed too backward to have collectivization right away. So they actually come up with this formula. So how about we try mutual aid teams first? So put peasants into the mutual aid teams, help each other, and then we build agricultural cooperatives. That is, ask peasants to pool their land together and farm on the land collectively. So the crops will be distributed based on your land input and your labor input together. And then the next step is agricultural collective, the Soviet step. So all the land now will be owned by the collective, by the peasants, all of them, and the crops will be distributed based become your neighbor. So this is their plan. So now they have this wonderful plan. The next thing to do is to fabricate or maneuver those beautiful reports. And essentially, one section particularly in the struggle actually invented this road plan, and they established the experimental agricultural cooperatives and created what appeared to be perfect cases of success by filtering the information, inflating the data, and manipulating the channel of the communication. So communists were notorious actually for fabricating data, but it is hard to nail them because all the archives are classified. So I was fortunate enough to discover a series of the reports actually drafted by different levels, but based on the same investigation. So one was by the Wuxiang County report, and the other report was by the Central Province. The third one is the article on the People's Daily. So in my book, I just compared the three reports. I just give you one example here. On the question, what was peasants' biggest concern? In the county report, it was surplus labor, just what we do with the surplus labor. However, in the Shanxi report, it becomes the class polarization because some peasants become rich, some peasants become poor. That's not right. Well, in the articles published on People's Daily, the real concern is peasants wanted to form a mutual aid team, but the communists just failed to provide guidance, and the peasants wanted the guidance so they can form mutual aid team. So you can see the whole fact or twisted. So this is just one example. The higher the administrative level a report was sent, the simpler its message becomes. High-ranking leaders like Mao Zedong actually were presented on a daily basis with numerous official reports that had been subjected to round after round of the censorship, editing, and interpretation. So leaders, communist leaders, fell into the victims of the censorship themselves. And so little wonder the complexity of the rural situation were lost in the process of the communication. What peasants were thinking was not as important as what they should be thinking in those official reports. And in the end, those deeply flawed reports where errors was compounded by error proved sufficiently plausible to convince Mao that peasants wanted to join those cooperatives, and those cooperatives worked perfectly. So this is just a photo about peasants work happily together on the map. So kind of deceived or inspired by those reports in 1951. By the end of 1951, Mao Zedong decided to build mutual aid teams and agricultural cooperatives nationwide, but still on the voluntary basis. And then another thing is the peasants should not be viewed as mere victims of the policies from above. And in reality, the peasants actually were a diverse social force made up of the individuals who perceived their interests differently, who made different calculations of the life strategies, and who sought to adapt directives from above in different ways. And so in my book, I also examined how the fluctuations of the building mutual aid teams and cooperatives in China between 1951 to 1953, showing how the peasants actually turned the policy to their advantage and sought to pursue the individual profit through those policies. However, the peasants' reactions that in turn propelled the party to strengthen the control and to strip the peasants of their capacity to adapt the system to their end. The funny thing is, we have assumed this path from the mutual aid teams to the agricultural cooperatives and to the collectives should be, when the first one worked fine, then you move to the second one and the third, right? That's how the communists' official master narrative. But in reality, from the local report I read, it's actually not how the mutual aid teams worked fine. It's how the mutual aid team did not work fine. So government so you have to fix this problem. So either you admitted this idea of the mutual aid team is wrong, or you said the idea is good, the peasants were wrong. They actually did not understand it, and they need more guidance from our side, from the party. So, and trust me, the communists will choose the second one, because Marxism is never wrong. Maoism is never wrong. So this idea of the collectivization is never wrong. So you can only blame the peasants and blame the execution rather than the policy and stuff. So you wanted to monitor the peasants more closely to make sure they can succeed. So mutual aid teams is not good enough. So we tried agricultural cooperatives. So we force peasants to pool their land together, and then it's easier for the party to monitor what's going on in these cooperatives. Well, it did not work very well, and peasants actually fight over whose land should be farmed first, and how should we distribute it, how to calculate the labor, blah, blah, blah. So the government, okay, so how about we push one step further to the collectives? So now all the land belongs to the collectives. You don't fight over whose land first. And then it's actually the failure of the earlier stage propelled the government to move forward. And during that stage, peasants actually tried to resist. They slaughtered their animal. They actually did not work hard at all. And they didn't only burn the crops, but they just did not harvest the crops at the timely manner. So they actually resisted. All those things will be repeated in the 1950s and 55 and repeated in 1958. So this, even in the experimental stage, this idea of the agricultural cooperative did not work very well. And this almost shows that the state was reluctantly put into the troublesome and expensive micromanagement of the society in ways that it did not intend in the very beginning. It's like a bad spiral, what happened. So, so basically this is my book, and I just keep wondering, yes, history repeats itself, but we people should learn the lesson from that. So why the Communist Party just could not learn from the failures in their past, and why they just could not learn from the failures of their Soviet brothers? So what has happened? And then, in the end, I like to invite you to think about why the parallel between the Stalinist Russia and North China. Was there any intrinsic or systematic nature that actually created or made the parallel possible? So thank you very much for being here, and I really like to get your ideas, and if you have any questions about the book or some of the topics, please.
Was this policy sort of repeated in Romania? And I think somebody told me that his grandfather was forced to turn over his land to the communists, and I think so that part of Romania went from breadbasket to having, having become a grain importing nation.
Yes, actually, with the Romania become part of the socialist camp during the Cold War, the collectivization was imposed on the Soviet Union. One thing quite unique about China's case is most scholars actually have talked about how Chinese Communist Party's peasant policy was much better than the Soviet policy, and how Chinese peasants did not oppose the communist policies in the early 1950s as badly as Soviet Russian peasants fought against the collectivization in the early 1930s. So many scholars focus on the better part of the Chinese experience. So it's not a complete collectivization. There was support from the peasants on the case. Things only went wrong in the middle of the 1950s. Well, things never worked. But the communists, from even a very lower level, were very skilled in manipulating the data and to create perfect cases. And all those upside were hidden in the archives. They'll go back to read.
My question relates to just giving us a bit of context about, the period before the collectivization. Can you tell us about kind of the class structure that existed during the late Qing and First Republic and warlord period? Essentially, how was Shaanxi organized in the 1900 to 1935 period prior to the Long March and prior to becoming the bastion of the Chinese Communist Party? What was the noble peasant relation scheme, and how does it parallel and compare to what was in Tsarist Russia?
The China's peasants actually, in general speaking, by the end of the Qing Dynasty and early 20th century, the landlord, the class, if we divide the peasants into landlord, rich peasants, and the middle peasants, the actual landlords were declining. Their authority, their wealth declined during the urbanization of the late 19th century and early 20th century. And their declining actually was one reason for the declining of the whole village, because in the past, those landlords had enough wealth to support the education, to support the rural family kids, to attend the civil service exam, and to provide the relief in case there was a natural disaster, right? But as the landlords become poor, and their capacity to help the neighbors actually declined, the real problem was the intruding government. Like the Scott just said, 19th century, 20th century, worldwide was the time for the modern states. The modern states are much more expensive to sustain themselves because it wanted a modern army, it need to provide the infrastructures, it need to provide some medical service, some of the education to its citizens, right? So it needs money. Where the money came from? Mostly came from peasants. So modern states actually tax the peasants much more than those previous imperial dynasties. That's why actually the conflict, if you look at the conflict in the countries, it is not the conflict between the landlord and poor peasants. Poor peasants did not hate landlord. Actually, they were jealous of the landlord. They wanted to be landlord. So the landlord were like the model for the poor peasants. The real enemy of the peasants were the intruding government, who tried to collect more and more taxes from peasants, and also tried to lease the young men to join the army. So really the problem is between the state and the peasants. So the communists actually really took that opportunity and posed itself as an ally of peasants against the regime, either the Japanese regime or the nationalist regime. The funny thing is, why? Because they did not care about the agricultural tax as the revenue. That's why they could make deals, all kinds of deals with the middle peasants. So guess where the revenue came from? Where the revenue came from, the communist party. True. Yes.
They seem to profit from the landlord.
Exactly. They actually seized the land and profit from the landlord, sometimes rich peasants. They distributed the land to the poor peasants, but they kept the property, the cash, and the grain. So really they did not care so much about the tax from middle peasants, for example, and they did not care about agricultural production in general, because that's not their revenue source. But things started to change in 1949, because now they relied on the regular agricultural tax revenue. They need the agricultural production to rise to reach the end, and they want more grain from peasants. That's where the conflict in the 1950s. Yes.
The study of the history of Chinese history seemed to show that Mao is an idealist, and he felt that there's sort of the communist utopia to the commune that can change people's nature, sort of like the enlarged kibbutz in Israel. We have millions of people really brainwashed to be selfless. They have to raise their children together, they grow their grains together, and so on and so forth. Then we'll have an ideal society in the world. But I think that that's the reason why he wrote with Khrushchev, because Khrushchev is revisionist. And then many of these revolutionist parties, for example, the one in Cambodia, the one in Indonesia, still view Mao's way as the right way to really change people's selfishness into unselfishness. But I think that seems to be the crucial problem, because we cannot easily change people's nature. And so therefore, everybody's looking for their self-interest. And certainly you point out a very important part is that they went from really grabbing the land from the landlord into the government who has to collect tax of the land, which is a major change from people who are really no responsibility to people have to have responsibility. But I think the central issue for the failure, also for the duplication of the history of Russia, Mao actually adored Stalin. And therefore, I think he just felt that he could do better, even more idealistic than Stalin could have done. But nevertheless, he couldn't change the human nature, at least not in such a short time. Maybe if now we have technology, maybe they give them injections to become selfless.
It's something like divergent.
Right.
Yeah, I totally agree. So I think you see the gap between what communists thought the peasants should be and what peasants were, right? When you have this gap, you have two options. One is to you modify your version, and then to basically based on the reality, you form your policy, right? And the other policy is you actually change the peasant himself to fit your image. I think the communists and also the Chinese communists in the Soviet Union, they actually choose the latter. They modify the peasants, so peasants can fit in their projection of what peasants should be. That's really the root of the tragedies of what had happened in both countries. And you're right, Mao actually, I think, was a big fan of Stalin. And he was unhappy about the Khrushchev's de-Stalinization, and he considered Stalin to be deviated from Khrushchev deviated from the right path. But at the same time, very sincerely, in the middle of the 1950s, Mao was looking for a Chinese path to socialism, different from Khrushchev and Stalin, but still China ended with quite similar fate.
Thank you very much for your presentation. It's very interesting. There's a long history, I believe, in the United States of studying an enthusiasm for Chinese and Chinese peasants, perhaps particularly, thinking of Edgar Snow and maybe William Hinton with his book Fan Shen, which may have been in this same province. So I'm trying to understand how your scholarship fits into the larger debate about the fate of peasants in the communist period and the causes of the Great Famine in China.
I just like to see how did the road, the path led to the Great Famine, how did it begin? I did not personally study the Great Famine because the topic is too sad. I think I can't take it. The story is beyond my comprehension, so I did not really get into the 1958 part. But I just like to see what was the basic nature, basic communist understanding of peasants. So where the seed of all the ones come from. So my conclusion is it's from the 1920s. Actually, the communists did not really try to understand peasants. They actually embraced the Lenin presumptions on Russian peasants, and then formed all the kind of rural investigations that conform to those ideas, and then come up with the policies like land reform based on those reports. So this is my understanding. Sorry, what are other questions?
That's okay, that's fine.
Okay. Oh, thank you so much. This is a wonderful topic. Put theory aside, you're looking at somebody, offspring of that peasant. I'm almost on the verge of tears when I saw this morning a last minute notice from Bruce. Said Shanxi, when I saw Shanxi, I said, oh my God, that's literally where the place I grew up. You know, if you look at the Great Famine of 1959 to 61, I was a small child, I survived that. I was literally peasant. I just finished writing my memoir, but anyway, the famine, oh my goodness, I was a little kid, 2 years old, and my grandpa would hold me walking to the only cafeteria in the village. They would not allow anybody to cook at home. There's one big pot, watery, just throw some vegetables in there, few grains, but this food paradise, America is incredible. But I remember that I was crying. I was, I said, there's no salt in it. I was crying, and people were laughing. Come look at this little girl. She knows there's no salt. But anyway, how they did the land reform is such a sweet, gentle word. But you look at behind, cruel, how they did it. You know, they, if you have land, they take it from you, they beat you, execute you. So landlord, rich peasants, middle level, and peasants, have nothing. My grandparents had a horse, brown, beautiful red horse. And all of a sudden, right before the so-called land reform, it dropped dead, healthy young horse. And if that precious horse did not die, my parents would have been denounced as well-to-do peasants, rich peasants. They would be, I would never have a chance to come out, move into the city, get a job, get opportunity. Because when you denounce the categorized as landlords and well-to-do peasants, your future, not only your life, your kids' future, generation after generation, they have no possibility of any life promotion. My neighbor, there's an old man, old lady, a next door neighbor. They were landlords, and it was my grandmother was telling me later. By the way, my grandmother, 3-inch bound feet. She would say, "Oh my God, the poor Shuling." Shuling was his name. As soon as they hear the denouncing the landlord struggling meeting, he started shaking like the winter, like tree leaves. Because they would have beat him, they would have just all kinds of humiliating, so-called struggling. It was just horrible, just horrible. And to answer your question, how to, change people selfish, the whole China was, I grew up I did not come to America until I was 30 years old. And they did a great job doing brainwashing you. Everybody's supposed to be unconditionally loyal to Chairman Mao, selfish, give him your life. Your parents love you, your father, your mother's love is nothing compared to Chairman Mao's love for you. You're supposed to be selfish. When you hear the hero stories, this 16-year-old kid gave his life for a piece of log, because the log rushed by the river, was carried by the river, and he was being a hero, being selfish. He gave his life, saved that log. This is how they brainwash you. Just a whole charade. I can't believe I survived. I really can't believe I survived. Looking at peasant offspring. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be in America, and I'm a high school teacher for 20 years in San Francisco. Now I'm a writer. I just completed writing my memoir. It's about growing up in China. You were really looking at somebody writing my own second language. On my own. I did not have anybody write for me. I literally lived that, and just horrible. Oh, by the way, don't mean to brag, but my writing was won a grand prize winner of San Francisco Writers Conference last year. So, and I talked about my grandmother's bound feet and growing up. Just a lot of things. I'm your flesh and blood, witness testimony of this wonderful topic. Thank you. I can't believe Shanxi, usually when people say, Shanxi, you from Shanxi, how can it be possible anybody speak English from a backward, deep mountain place in Shanxi? I said, I'll show you. But anyway, it's wonderful to be here. Thank you so much, Dr. Ho. And thank you, Bruce. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming, I really appreciate it.
Another round of applause for Professor.